so loud in your ear. Now it's just us.
That's crazy. I couldn't give it anything higher than a 7.
I guess we don't really need these. It's just you and me now.
Fuck, I'm in a studio though.
Yeah, take the headphones off. You're in a studio. You can see recordings and all your audio levels now. Where the fuck are we at then? They're at the party. They killed the man. Tars is irate. He can see. Okay, so this makes sense now because you'd seen this. How many times have you seen this before?
3 or 4.
Okay, so this is your 4th or 5th viewing.
Because I loved it as a kid. Now looking at it,
this is my first time, so I was like wondering why Tars was so irate. He was like, he could see that Sola set him free. I didn't know how she set him free. I was like, did she loosen the chains? It's because she gave him the learning juice, maybe. So that makes sense, I guess. But there was one girl in the back that was just like grinning ear to ear the whole time. I was like, who the fuck is she? But as they let him go and Tars is reprimanding Sola, you get a flashback of this little girl, this woman, and John on Earth, 1881, New York City. And I was like, okay, I hope that keeps reoccurring. They were going to build a story of his time on Earth. So the next day, Sola and John are tied up. And Sola's just getting branded.
Oh, yeah, because you with Sola has like 1 or 2 brands left before she has no room on her body.
She's been branded so many times.
To have any mistakes. So anything after that, she's dead.
Yeah, she's been branded so many times that if she does something wrong again, they just kill her.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. So John is about to jump for them because he was going to be branded when flyers come by. This is the Zodanga and helium ships.
This is Deja meet.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're shooting at each other. I thought they were going to take shelter because the flyers were going to shoot them, but it's Helium and Zodanga fighting against each other. Did you see the Tharks just like placing bets? They were passing around a bowl, like putting in things.
I thought this is common. Like we're gonna see who wins this battle over here, and then we'll figure it out from there.
Who's coming out on top today? I got over under Zodanga's -3.
Even after the fight, they were like, "You don't get that bet." I'm like, what?
Yeah. What are you talking? John interfered. We don't get that. Like, you lost your canteen. I'm sorry, man.
Right. Like, damn.
But Sab Than wants to destroy Helium, but one of the dudes tells him, give it a little blast, since his future wife is on board. So, they give it a little blast. They start to pull all the people off the ship, but Princess Deja's nowhere to be found on the ship. They're like, where the fuck is she? She was a stowaway, hiding in the roof. She tries to fly out, but ends up crashing the ship. Woman drivers, am I right?
Yeah, a little bit.
Only for John to force jump and save her as she falls and plummets from the sky.
That's when you see him use his real powers the most. He hasn't jumped like that.
Yeah, he's done some big jumps,
show
obviously,
off,
but he jumped 100 feet here.
He balled out 100 feet. That's pretty exact. Yeah, he jumped off that because he saw her falling. Then he picked her up, and then he jumped back. Then he jumped back onto the ship to go ahead and fight old dude, whatever his name is.
Sab Than.
Yeah. Fought him.
Also, very accurate of a jump. He knew exactly how far to jump and timed it perfectly.
He did.
Because he catches her out of the air.
That's when he can control his. Like, he kind of figures out what he's capable of doing on that planet.
Yeah, and they work together to take down a bunch of ships. They best Sab Than, and they join the Tharks with the help of shooting down a flyer. They start shooting at it. So because John has saved her and them, they make him a Jeddak of the Tharks. Apparently that's one of the kings or rulers, the Jeddak. And he reluctantly takes the role to ensure the safety of Deja. Because, we're going to kill her.
No, they named him Soldier Cat. Or Soldier...
They named him Soldier Boy. Doja Cat.
It was like Soldier Cat.
It was like
Tars named him that.
It was,
and that was like a name.
It was like Soldier Dojat.
Something like that, whatever it was, but they named him that.
Yeah.
And then after that, that's when he took on the name. But he took on the name because Tars wanted him to, and then because he was gonna hurt Cat.
Deja.
No, was it Deja?
Yeah, they were gonna hurt her.
Hurt Deja. Yep.
But she's a hot brunette. He's like, don't hurt her. I'll only be your Soldier Dojat.
But then he found out about Sola.
Yeah. So, that's a good point, because they talk about jumping and bone density and sailing. They come to the realization, Deja and John, that John's from Jasoon, which is Earth, and not from Barsoom, which is Mars. He tells her that he got here with that medallion talisman from the Therns, and she thinks that he is actually just a Thern trying to find his way home, not a human. And they end up going to get secrets or knowledge from the Forbidden Thark Temple. Sola was joining him there. She's scared because it's sacred. They're not supposed to be here. If they catch him there, she's going to get another brand, which means she's dead.
She's dead. Yep.
And she explains to us what exactly Therns are and who the goddess is. Therns are these servants for the goddess that have the power of the ninth ray. They carry the medallions. They can teleport. They can shapeshift. They've got the power to exterminate and do everything, basically.
Yeah.
And as they're learning all these things, they're caught in the temple, which means the death penalty for Sola. John, immediately, talking to Tars, figures out that Sola's his daughter, even though as a Jeddak, having a kid is forbidden, maybe, or something. He was like, I'm not supposed to do this. Maybe he was just letting his daughter free, that he was playing favorites or something, instead of killing her.
No, because she was just a disappointment, and he was ashamed.
Oh.
For so long. So, because she had so many stuff on her, but he didn't want to kill her, so he used her whole body as a branding kind of canvas.
Oh, okay.
I think that's not why he finished the job, because he's finished other people off before.
Yeah.
But he didn't finish her off because of those things, because of those little attachments.
He let her do multiple extra brands instead of killing her.
Right, and it was like still showing, like, it wasn't showing weakness as a king, but it was still showing like, I'm gonna brand you, and you're gonna have some kind of consequence, whatever you done. Okay. But that's what it is. That's why when he finally got to the point where he ran out of spots to brand, he said, I'm gonna give away my right arm.
Yeah.
And that's when in the movie you'll see, like, that's when took off, and that's when Odu took his spot.
Yep.
Because no one would challenge him.
Yep.
Because they had complete and utter faith with him. But until there was like some kind of hesitation into that kind of thinking,
the death penalty.
That's when it happened.
That makes sense.
That's when it happened.
Thank you.
Yep.
So he instructs John and Deja to take Sola with. They're going to sail the sacred river Is to find the secrets they seek. And he gives John the talisman that he had on with him. And Woola joins them as well. So John and Sola, they stop the path they're on, as Deja was clearly taking them back to Helium instead of down the river Is. They cut her ride loose. They're going to leave her when we officially find out that she's a princess. We didn't fully know that yet, but it was pretty obvious.
She gave it all that. She was desperate.
And she tells him, I don't want to marry Sab Than. I'm going to stick with you guys. So they follow to the river, and they basically raft to the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, basically.
They're rafting through, but they leave Woola behind because it can't get on the small boat. And John breaks the news to Sola that Tars is her father. Apparently she didn't know that he was her own father.
He was like, can't you tell? But he picked it up during that fight previously.
Yeah, exactly.
He was like, oh, that's your daughter. Because he has a daughter, and he had a wife who died.
Mm-hmm. Himself.
So
John did.
He was able to figure it out based off his gut instinct.
Therns, the spiritual beings, they're talking to each other. They're afraid that John and Deja are getting close to their sanctuary, which is on the river. And with Deja's knowledge of the ninth ray, because she was able to create one for herself, they could stop their whole plan, whatever it may be. And John and Deja come up across this gigantic unknown structure. They go inside to explore, and it activates when John steps on it because of the medallion he's got. It creates that spider-like symbol that he saw at the gold mine.
Domino effect. Well, was it because he stepped on it?
Yeah, he stepped on a little spot, and then it brought up a little like podium thing, and he put the medallion on it, and it like lit up the whole floor basically. And so he's like inside the structure. It's the little tiniest little place to insert the medallion, but they're like, oh, that's where you put it. It creates this figure, and that John says on Earth earlier, or that what he saw when he got transported. She's like, oh my god, the spider symbol's got 9 beams. This has got to be the 9th ray. This is how you harness its power. Somehow Zodanga beat us to it, and this must be a power of the Therns, and Sab Than's working with the Therns, and oh my god, Jon's not a Thern, but he's actually an Earthling, and he watched boats sail on the water. She comes to so many conclusions all at once. It was like, slow down, girl.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, because there was... What was it? She was going pretty fast, and that's when she was like, I need to go back to the science lab.
Yes.
Back to the science lab.
Because this is where we'll get all the knowledge.
Let me gather some info, but she already broken trust previously with Jon.
On helium, yeah.
Yep. And now he's like, you know what? I don't trust you. It is what it is. Now you want to just conveniently go back to helium to go find out whatever it is that's going to help me do whatever it is. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's what it was. But yeah. She
comes to a lot of conclusions, and meanwhile, some creatures outside the structure are growling as they watch them inside, and they start to like, I don't know how they learned how to work the beams of the spider thing so quickly, but they're like stepping on one, and then the rays dance and create a solar system with hieroglyphs, and she's like, oh my god, these symbols. They talk about copies. So I think Jon was telegraphed here as a copy of himself. Right. And this is your soul here, but your body, your human body is still actually on Earth. It was like, how are you coming up to these conclusions?
But it makes sense though, because when he came back,
it makes sense. He was
sense. 40 years old, remember?
I mean, later it does.
Yeah, remember he got stopped and he threw it in the water.
Yeah.
And then left. So the old dude transferred him.
Yeah.
Back over to what's the island? Jabarsum, whatever is it?
Jasoon,
whatever. Jasoon.
Earth.
Yeah, to Earth, and he was there, and he woke up with
the beard,
20-inch beard. But that's the same thing, because I bet you, old dude did the same thing, and you may copy yourselves in every planet, but you gotta be planted in a safe spot.
You gotta have your body
because your body can be gone, but you have to be careful. But wherever your original body is. That's where you need to have the heightened sense of security.
Yes.
Because that's the point where you're most vulnerable.
Where you could be killed.
Yep.
So, yeah, she's like, oh my god, your body must actually be back on Earth and you're just a copy with your spirit here and all this stuff. I was like, oh my god, more conclusions. But as she's saying all this, Jon just leans in and kisses her. And I was like, oh! When he kisses her, though...
It's about damn time.
When he kisses her, it flashes back to Earth again, where he's kissing his wife and his daughter's there watching. Yeah. And it cuts back to Bar's room. He feels something, but he keeps looking at the rings on his hand. He's hesitant to get into something with Deja. Probably because he has a wife back at home. Or so you think.
A widow.
They
died.
Oh, they died. So they're in there kissing when Sola yells for them to come out immediately. They come out, and along the canyon cliffs are hundreds of, like, uncolonized Tharks. All the Gumby Machamps are there. They're like the tribesman village people, and that were banished away. They work under a control of a Thern. They're ordered to catch them, save Deja, and see what Jon's capable of. And so they raft the river or whatnot back to the land where the Woolas is, but all the Tharks are like right there ready to go. Jon's tired of running, this is where you find out he's a widow, because he has a memory of him coming home to see that his house had burnt down with his wife and daughter's burnt bodies inside dead. Do you think that was an accident, or do you think that was like American soldiers that burnt it because he was a part of the Confederacy?
No idea.
I bet it was foul play, I think.
I don't know what it was, but he carries it very
the
heavily
guilt.
As if it was his fault.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was like his attachment to previous things is what I'm gonna be. I would bet my money on if we're gonna bet money. I'm like something he did that causes a domino effect that affected his family.
I think so.
Which is why he ran away in the beginning so that no one else would get hurt.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that's why he did what he did.
Yeah.
I don't know. But if I was in a place to bet, it'd be because of that reason.
Okay. I think so, too. So he's tired of running, all those burnt bodies. He has to bury them. He doesn't want another scenario where he has to save... He's too late to save his love, who's Deja this time. So he sends Deja with Sola, and him and the Woolas stay behind to fight the hundreds of Tharks that are coming toward him. And Jon and the Woola kill so many Tharks, but eventually he falls to the sheer numbers of them. That is until a flyer from the Helium group comes in and blasts the Tharks and scares the rest away. They pull Jon's body out of a pile of carcasses, and Deja explains to her father that he's an Earthman. He's not a Thern, he's not a Thark, he's from Jasoon. And he's like, oh my god, really? Well, I got Sab Than here, the leader of Zodanga, and she's ready to kill him, but he's like, don't do that. He's turned himself in.
He's apologized. He's done all the extra stuff. Yeah.
He's alone. He's turned himself into Helium. He's showing that he's a man of honor. He offers a sword to Deja. He's like, do what you want. You can kill me. All I want to do is marry you. If you kill me, the war is going to continue. If you don't kill me and you marry me, everything's done and we can unite our kingdoms. And you get all the power. She hesitates because she loves Jon, but she doesn't kill him to save the city of Helium and Barsoom itself.
Smart.
Noble.
Smart. Because she knew.
She knew.
You couldn't trust him.
And so she goes with Sab Than. Jon's being held hostage in a room in Zodanga when one of the chief guards, I thought it was Sab Than, but it wasn't, ordering that he be taken somewhere more secure. The guards were like, what? I didn't get this order. I was like, this guy's a chief guard. Why are you not listening to his orders anyway? Well, it's all a ploy because he's like, take me hostage, Jon. Take me hostage. So he does, and they flee together. It's not Sab Than, but Kantos Khan.
Because she wanted to. She controls him.
Yeah, and Kantos Khan, he's a worker for Deja and Helium. He was one of the chief guards for Helium.
She trusted him.
And they're here to get to one specific building.
Yep.
He was like, you got to jump over there. He's like, jump that far?
She thinks I can jump that far, and he did it.
Yeah, he did. It was across the city. He jumps that far, but he can't hang on to the edge, so he falls.
And then super jumps again.
Yeah, he double jumps, jumps off a flyer, off the wall.
Quick little fix. Quick fix.
Little wall jump.
Right.
You ever play Mario Super Sluggers on the Wii?
Dude, literally.
It's like when you do the buddy jump, when your team has like the connection in the outfield, they hit a home run, but you rob it with like the fucking cheerleader.
That's
buddy
what it
jump.
felt like. She had some kind of power because she knew he can do it.
He could jump over here,
and he was like, she has this faith in me. I'm gonna do whatever it takes to go see her, and then it worked.
The reason they're getting to this building is because that's where Deja's being held. And this is where the marriage is going to take place with Sab Than. She's going to marry him with no other options, but Jon doesn't want her to. She says she wants him to stay and fight for Helium and not go home, but she does have the medallion on her and gives him an out. She deciphered that telegram phase from the rays and has him repeat after her the words to teleport back to Earth. He hesitates on the last word, which is Jasoom, to get back to Earth. But when Sab Than enters, as they're saying that, he's gone. So he must have teleported back to Earth.
Which he did.
No, he didn't. He's chilling in the roof. He's chilling in that little hole in the roof. He didn't go back to Earth.
Oh yeah, it was a ploy.
Yeah, he's spying on him. But one of the ladies
that
was working with Deja, she keeps lingering and like looking at us. She was suspicious. They keep showing her. Jon, chilling on the ceiling, he hops down, and when he exits the room, he finds that lady that was kept looking around and lingering.
And then turned. And
she fucking zaps him with a 9th ray, and she shapeshifts into Matai Shang, one of the Therns.
Yeah. Okay.
That shapeshifting thing is way too powerful.
But then, is that the point where then he transfers back to go to Earth?
No. That's way later.
Really?
This is when he zaps him and he gets like those lines like in his veins up his arm.
Oh, the controls. Yeah, the controls.
It's like a shock collar basically.
Okay, yeah.
So he's under control of Matai Shang, of one of the Therns. And so, there's like a restraint in his veins. The Therns able to figure out exactly who Jon is. He's like, I know He's like, based on your accent, you're probably from the South. I'm thinking Virginia.
Yeah, right. He's like, you say y'all. He's like, damn.
I was like, good deciphering. He was like, okay,
right.
I know
He's
where
like,
you're
I've been
from.
there. He's like, I'll get familiar.
He's like, I haven't been to Virginia enough. Let me tell you. But he knows how he got here. He figures out, John's like, okay, you're a Thern. If I've ever seen a Thern, you're a Thern. Right. And they watch the wedding processional. They're watching. And Ma Tai-Sheng tells John that she was so close to discovering the ninth ray power, but it doesn't matter anymore. Because at the marriage, they're getting married when the two moons align tonight. When that wedding is complete, anyone with the knowledge of the ninth ray is going to be eliminated by them. Because the two moons aligning creates a power of the ninth ray as well. And they're going to use that to kill her and all of Helium. Zodanga's going to rule again, no matter what. I was like, damn.
Like a signal.
Sab Than's double crossing, triple crossing. And Ma Tai-Sheng tells them that they've been around forever. They planned the planet of Barsoom out in a way to manage everything. They ended up choosing Sab Than to lead this nation and control the ninth ray because he's just a mindless brute. They can control him easily without the remainder of the planet knowing the existence of the Therns. Even if he knows they're there, he's stupid and he's a leader, but he's dumb.
Right.
Nobody's going to expect goddesses and spiritual beings.
He was controlling everything.
And he's telling him that. And he's like, I'm so sorry, John. I'm going to have to kill you now. He straps him up. When super speed Woola to the rescue, I loved the little Woola POV. You see it like running up the stairs and shit real quick.
One little chomp. Get rid of the little wrist activator you had.
Yeah, it bites him on the wrist. Good bite because it breaks the medallion, sets John free from the shock collar tethers or whatnot. And John gets in. This is where he gets into the little flying solar powered machine. He's like I said, he's from 1881. He doesn't know how to fly worth shit. He's crashing into everything, and he's trying to run away from some of these other ships from the Zodanga when those ships get shot down because Sola's in the desert with a sniper.
She was in a desert with a sniper. She never shot her shot though.
And she did. She shot down the other flyers. She had a sniper. She shot down the two that were chasing John, and she sent Woola there to save him.
Really?
Yeah.
I remember that.
She's a good shot.
She was shooting?
She was shooting.
What? Really?
She was a sniper.
Because I remember like, so they had somebody focused in on them.
Yeah.
You would zoom back out, and you would see the person who was sniping. But I thought they actually caught the person.
No, that was Sola. She shot him down.
Oh.
She's a good shot.
Nice.
Shooting a plane.
And that's when she met up. That's when they reunited.
Yes.
Oh.
So she's like, I knew Woola would never leave your side if I brought him close.
And she said that multiple times throughout the movie. At least 3 times.
Yeah, he'll never leave your side.
Right.
So they end up flying back to the Tharks village or land to get help with them to fight the battle against Sab Than. But when they do, they find out that Tars is no longer the leader. It's Tal. He was the brute guy with the broken
husk.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, he was way more built than Tars was.
But he was waiting for his chance.
Yeah.
He got it.
Like you said, he was waiting for that moment for people to doubt Tars as a leader when he let Sola go without killing her.
Yeah.
He didn't have the guts to be a leader. Tal does.
Right.
And so they get there. John is immediately thrown in the dungeon where he finds a beat up Tars, and the two are quickly sent to the gladiator ring to battle the great white apes. These are kind of giant. They're blind. They don't have eyes, but they are gigantic, like gorilla looking. They're apes.
Yeah.
Blind apes.
Turned out to be pretty easy.
Because John, he's tied to the rock. He's jumping to avoid and distract. Right. But Tar's just getting his shit rocked. He's about to die. He finally gets a white ape to break at least some of the boulder he's tethered to, so he's more mobile. And we already talked about this, but I was so pissed that he could swing the boulder around like that. Right. Smacks a white ape in the head with the boulder, shatters it so he's completely mobile.
Gone.
Kills that white ape.
Yep.
And Sola joins the ring to save her dad.
Right.
And as she's there, she throws him a sword. John's jumping through the
John a sword.
Yeah, he's jumping through the air, grabs the sword, and just like
dives in front of them with the fucking sword up,
and just cuts through the body of the ape.
Like, all the blue guts.
Oh yeah, blue blood.
It was blue.
He's a Crip.
It was blue.
Who knew? Great white apes were Crips.
Whatever happened after that was so anticlimactic. I was so mad.
I was
pissed. That was horrible.
A quick gladiator ring scene? Come on, I want a little more action out of that.
What's the dude with the one husk name?
Tall. Oh, this was way more anticlimactic. At least the great white ape fight.
And John said, "Oh, she just finna get on."
Yeah.
And in like 2 seconds, it was a wrap. I'm like, are you serious?
Because at least the great white apes had a decent fight scene.
Yeah.
But apparently they're like mindless creatures. They don't know any. Tall, who's supposed to be the leader of the Tharks, I thought was going to be a great battle. It was going to be one-on-one.
Look on my phone. 2 seconds. His head is gone.
That's your note?
Oh, that's fucking cool.
Yeah, so they kill the great white apes, right? He cuts through his body. John challenges Tall to a duel to become the alpha. And he's like, no, he's not a Thark. I can't let him do that. But the crowd's like...
Yeah. Whatever the fuck they were saying.
They're like, all right, we're going to go. So Tall's
whose
like... Whose
medal's going to... What is it? Whose medal's going to... What was the medal?
Oh, yeah.
The medal term. Whose medal is going to surrender support? Who supports this medal or whatever it was?
Everyone raises their sword and shit. So he's like, all right, it's on. Tall grabs dual swords, jumps from his throne seat into the gladiator ring. John jumps at him. Immediately decapitates him.
Yeah, 2 seconds. That would be a little bit more fist fight and a little bit more action, but no.
Done like that. And so now...
On to the next.
Now John's the leader of the Tharks. He's the Jeddak. And he's like, I gotta take you all. I need you guys to come with me to Zodanga to save Helium and Princess Deja because Sab Than's gonna kill everyone. And they get there. John and the Tharks get to Zodanga to disrupt the wedding. And some of the guards are like, what are you guys doing here? The wedding's in Helium. They're like,
yeah. Oh, he's all look, bro.
They're like, fuck, we went to the wrong wedding.
Right.
They're so screwed because they have to get there fast. What's the easiest way to fly there? But apparently Tharks don't fly. That's their rule. We don't fly.
They don't like it.
They get motion sick.
Yeah, I remember that.
Give them a scopolamine patch and let them fly. They'll be good.
72 hours, baby.
Give them a little orazepam. They'll calm down flying.
Dang.
So John takes a flyer to get there. All the Tharks are going to ride on Banths to get there, but it's going to take a long time. He's going to have to do it basically on his own. And as Deja, it's wedding, as she's just about to drink.
And say, I do. Forever.
Drink from the holy water that consummates the marriage in the sky. John just breaks through the glass ceiling. He's like,
just in a nick of time.
He's like, it's a trap! It's a trap! She's like, oh my god. And so, Sab Than seeing that, he's like, fuck it. Kill them all. Flips this little thing that is now turns into a mirror. It aligns the moon, shoots the 9th ray into the sky, which signals all the Zodanga soldiers, which were outside Helium walls, to attack the Helium soldiers. It's just a war going on.
Yep.
And apparently Sab Than can like float and fly. Because he grabs Deja and just starts floating in the air near the reflection beam.
I can't gauge his powers. I don't know. I really don't know.
Seems way stronger than what he comes on to be.
Yeah, but then he also got his ass beaten up. So I'm like, I don't know.
Always gets his ass beat. So he's floating. He's trying to put her in the beam to kill her.
Right.
When she has a little knife and she stabs him right through the fucking wrist. He drops her, but who's there to save her out of the air again but John Carter?
Yeah.
Soldier Dota. Soldier Dota. John saves her. He's about to be killed by Sab Than when the Tharks, who don't fly, are flying the biggest fucking cargo ship through the ceiling again. They crash in. They about crash in and crush Sab Than. And while Sab Than's distracted, John cuts off his arm that had the 9th ray weapon. And Sab tells him, he's like, if you spare me, I will tell you everything I know about the Therns. Well, one of the Therns was shape-shifting there. He overhears this, and he's pissed. So he's like rubbing the medallion that's on his wrist. Mm-hmm. This was the most powerful thing I've ever seen. It started to turn him to statues or something.
I didn't quite... I did see them change the statues.
They started to turn like blue and like crystallize.
It's like frozen.
Yeah.
But then when they stopped it, they came back.
Yes.
But I don't know what that was.
He was doing that. He was shape-shifting as a Thark so nobody could see him. He was rubbing his little talisman on his wrist because they were near the 9th ray weapon. And it was freezing them, turning them into statues. But luckily, Deja was there. She saw somebody doing something. And she stops the thing. They come back to life. And so the shape-shifting Thern that looked like a Thark shapeshifts to look exactly like Deja. So it's a Deja on Deja sword fight. Yeah. That makes sense, right?
That's about right.
She's fighting herself to save John. Tars ends up getting the talisman. Tarkin or whatever, but he's thrown off because Ma Tai Sheng, the Thern, shapeshifts to look like John Carter. Yeah. And so looking like John Carter's like, give me the medallion. Yeah. Give me it, man. And John sees that. He's like, oh, fuck no. I got to get over there. We got to stop this right now. So he hops on over there.
Too late.
Yeah, they're going to cut him. Ma Tai Sheng disappears. But, even though he's gone, Helium and the Tharks defeated Zodanga.
You know where he went?
No clue.
No idea.
He can teleport, he can shapeshift. There's no clue I would ever know.
No idea.
But the job's not finished. You know, even though all of Zodanga is killed and everything, the job's not finished because John, he takes off those wedding rings of his. His wife's dead. He's a widow. He immediately gets onto one knee and he proposes to Deja in the aligning moonlight. And she's like, oh my God, yes, John. I love you. And shortest engagement ever.
And
they're married.
The talisman.
They're married like 3 minutes later. How'd they plan that whole wedding?
Well, not good because there's no honeymoon.
There's no honeymoon.
Because he threw the talisman out into the river.
Yeah. Because so they're married. She's naked in the bed. Have you ever actually seen somebody wear bed sheets as a... Like, it's always done in movies where the guy's out somewhere and so the girl wakes up and she wraps the bed sheets around her body as a thing.
It's the ancient 300 movies, yes. Yeah.
This never happens in real life where you wear the bed sheets. But she's wearing bed sheets. She sees them. She's like, what's going on? He's like, I'm sleepless. I got unfinished business. So she's like, all right, you know what? Come back to bed whenever. He goes... And he throws the talisman into the desert from his balcony so that he can stay on Mars or Barzoom with her forever.
And then Odu catches him.
Yeah, he's walking back to the room.
Sends him back.
There was a guard guarding him, as obviously, because she's a princess. He's like, I bow for your honor for saving this planet. But Woolas starts to growl like a dog does, you know? A dog knows...
And they realize it's
dog knows evil. What? What's going on? It's Ma Tai Sheng. Shape-shifting. And honestly... Great villain, because instead of like killing John or something, you're gonna torture him because he grabs the talisman, clutches it to John's chest, and he's like, Okai Otawa Josum, and he just immediately teleports him back to Earth.
Back with his gold, everything that he left, that he wanted in the very beginning.
Oh my God, John wakes up in a cave on Earth. He's stiff as a board. I can hear his bones cracking. Yeah. He's got a beard, like you said.
It grew out, everything.
I don't know how long he was...
I was trying to figure out the time difference, because it looked like it was at least 15 years.
He was gone for a long time, because also Colonel Powell's body, he wakes up, he's like, Colonel Powell, help me, and Colonel is just a skull at this point. I don't know if things ate him or whatnot, but he's degraded.
I don't know.
And he sees
his time.
Yeah, he sees that spider shape again. He's trying to say the words to get back to Barzoom, but without the medallion, there's no way to get back.
Right.
And so it's narrating. It's back to the beginning. It's him as John Carter on Earth from the past, narrating to his nephew. He's like, I then realized that the Therns knew about Earth and my life when they were talking about Virginia. So I know that they do exist on this planet. And although small, I might be able to find them. So I'm going to devote my life to searching the gold mine and all the connecting areas for a talisman of some sorts or to find a shape-shifting Thern, as hard as it may be. And he hires this whole squad to search the caves and the surrounding areas. He finally has a man find a medallion and deliver it to him. Yeah. All while Therns are at the site watching him.
No.
And so what he did was he staged his own death to be buried inside a tomb that can only open from the inside so that he can transport his soul to Mars.
And keep his body, his copy,
in
the area.
Inside
protected.
there. So that the Tharn can't get in it. It can only open from the inside. Because if you kill the host body on Earth,
kill everything else.
His soul would die in Barsoom too.
Yeah.
And Edgar, or Ned, he's reading this whole thing. And the book's like, you're supposed to be the protector. Who knows? A Tharn could be there right now. He's like, oh, fuck, I gotta go to the tomb. Right. So he goes to the tomb.
Figures it out.
He's supposed to get it open. And he's like, you're the only key to get it open. He immediately like, oh, Ned, duh, type in Ned. I was like, there's no way you figured it out that fast. But he types in Ned on some of the words that were above.
He did.
And it opens it up. The tomb is open. And the Tharn's like right behind him, ready to kill him. But John's body is gone.
Yep. And that strap on him.
So the Tharn is like holding a ninth ray knife ready to kill him. And to kill Edgar Ned. But then a gunshot. The Tharn is shot. John's chilling behind him. He faked his whole goddamn death.
He did. Just to get back home. He was smart.
He used the nephew as a pawn.
Because he killed little dude to get the
talisman from him.
To go ahead, wiki waka woopa woopa, whatever it was. And he went home.
Yeah, he used his own nephew as a decoy.
They left us hanging because I would like to see. It's been 10 years. So I was interested to see the time difference between 10 years on Earth
and on Barsoom.
And then over there.
I agree.
Because, was it going to be a year missed? Or was it going to be 45 years? If she was somebody else, what happened?
She's like, he's gone. I got to remarry.
Right, you don't know.
Yeah. And so he used his nephew as a decoy to bring the medallion to John. Edgar's going to remain as his protector, but also he's like, take up a cause, like writing a book.
Right, fall in love,
write a book. Yeah. I thought that was pretty clever. Write a book, just like the actual book itself. And John teleports back to Barsoom while his body is locked inside the tomb. And that is the end of John Carter, or as called now, John Carter of Mars. Because title change at the end of the movie.
It did. It changed.
Do you also see that little JCM logo?
The Majin Buu logo.
Exactly. So that is the end.
That was it.
We did it. I took a lot of notes on this. I think mostly because...
You enjoyed it.
I think mostly because there are so many different... Like Star Wars, there's so many different names and characters and like I said, Tharks and Therns and Zodanga, and I have to take so many notes to try, as a first-time watcher, to decipher who is who to even keep track.
I'll never, ever reference again.
So many notes that are gone by the wayside. That's going to end the movie. We do have to do our quotes, ratings, and reviews.
Let's do it.
We'll pause for a second, and then we'll get right back into it. All right. I know Lukas didn't take quotes. He never takes quotes anymore. Did you take any? I saw you had notes.
I took one.
Ooh.
I took one.
What's your quote?
Some bullshit quote. Where was it?
One quote.
It's hard for me not to quote all the little bougie, little fake, romantic ones.
Uh-huh.
So I ended up hitting it with, I beg your pardon, ma'am. Stand behind me. This might get dangerous, John. And every time, it's like that's the exact quote. He established a little bit of kind of dominance, or he had some kind of
I'm gonna be the man,
physical power, and this is what he says, stand behind me. I'm going to show you what it's like. This is what I'm going to do. He didn't do anything. She was like, stand behind me. And then bring out the blade.
That is one of mine.
And then I started turning it up. And I'm like, okay, that's what we're talking about. In reality, he says it every time. He said it, I think, twice in the movie.
That was one of mine. Get behind me. This might be dangerous. Then she stabs some guys. She's like, or maybe I got to get behind you. A little sexual innuendo, but also... she's the shit, you know?
Right.
Let's see. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 quotes. You just took one of mine. I took 4 from IMDb. One is from Tharks talking to John. He says, "You are ugly, but you are beautiful, and you fight like a Thark." I was like, what does that even mean? Not knowing the movie when I write the script beforehand.
Right.
A really profound quote when Ma Tai-Sheng's telling him why they're doing all this to John. He says, "We do not cause destruction of a world, Captain Carter. We simply manage it, feed off of it, if you like." And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
It's very planned out. It's not just to kill people.
But he said that. But if you think about it,
they're killing people.
he was controlling
Yes.
the other empire.
Yes.
So it's like, how many other people are like you, or were you like the person who has like 7 spies in each world, and you hope to control with just 7 people?
Exactly.
Because if you do, if it just goes south, you're screwed.
So I wonder, this is very Americanized, but they put the planet of Mars into a civil war. If that's why the Therns were at America during that time, because it was Confederacy versus the North, they put that into a civil war as well to try and take over Earth. And that's why the Therns were there.
But why? What's their motive?
I don't know. To keep balance, to stay in power, but then I say, like, the Mars one's a whole planetary scale.
But we never seen that they were losing power.
True. They can do whatever the fuck they want.
Gain more.
Tarkus. He always called John Carter his right hand or his right arms, like his fellow, his next in command. So when he finds out that John has betrayed him, when I took this quote, I thought it was stupid, but it makes more sense. He goes, "My right arms offend me. I will cut them off." It means I'm gonna kill you, John. But I actually just thought it was like, oh, my right arms are betraying me.
That was his getaway.
Yeah. Kantos Khan, when he's portraying a Zodanga instead of a healing, he goes and he's like, "Ah, Zodanga, where the men are as limited as the menu, and the women are as hard as the beds."
I don't remember that one.
Yeah. Double roast. You actually already said this one. I just thought it was funny when they're trying to say jump for the first time. He's like, "Sack." Yep. Sack. And he's like, "Sack?" He's like, "Sack. Yeah, sack."
It all makes sense. Jump.
Sack. Also, right at that scene when he's like, "I am Tarkus, leader of the Tharks," or whatever. And John Carter just goes, he's saluting to the Tharks or something. He's like, "John Carter, Virginia." Right. He's like saying where he's from, like they're gonna know that, which is why they called him Virginia the whole time.
I thought it was funny. "Get behind me, this might get dangerous." You said that one. Deja talking to John, she goes, I knew from the moment you caught me in the sky, I felt the heart of an Earthman." You don't know shit. Right. There's no way you knew that. It's an old tale.
Right? Oh my god. At the gladiator ring, Tars is about to die. The Great White Ape's about to kill him. And Sola's watching her dad about to be killed. Yep. And one of the girls in the crowd, she's like, "Watch your father die like the whimpering callet he is." It's like, oh my god, that's harsh. So Sola's like, "No, let us watch you die." And she throws that bitch into the gladiator ring with herself. And then that woman gets ripped in half immediately. I was like, oh.
That was some G shit. That was G. That was sick. That was cool.
My next one is when Deja is fighting the Thern who's shape-shifting as Deja. They're fighting each other as the whole battle's going on, so it's a Deja on Deja fight.
At the end, yeah.
Yeah, and so the Thern starts to run away looking like Deja, and Deja just goes, "Get him! I'm getting away!" I was like, don't say I'm getting away.
Yeah, I actually, you know, it's funny that I thought about that too.
I'm getting away. No, you're not getting away. It's a Thern.
Right. I didn't remember that one.
And my last one is when John proposes to Deja, and it's just stupid. He goes, "Would the Princess of Mars ever consider getting married to a wayward Virginia cavalryman?"
That was a weird proposal.
Super weird, but she loved it.
It was like a day after.
She loved it.
16 hours after, but whatever.
Or years, we don't know.
No, it had to, because the moment they got proposed, that's when he ended up going to somewhere else.
That's true. So that's all of our quotes. We're gonna guess ratings. Rotten Tomatoes does, and IMDb both do, critics and users. We're gonna guess on each of them. Rotten Tomatoes, out of a percentage out of 100, what do you think critics gave this on Rotten Tomatoes?
3.5.
35%?
Yep.
Lukas said 67.
Mm-mm.
And the winner today is Lukas.
What? What is it?
It's a 52.
What? Every movie I somewhat like, they rate it like a 1.2. And every movie that I don't like, it's like a 9.5. So I can't really figure it out. But okay.
What about the people, though? Not the critics. Out of 100 percentage.
The people?
Yeah.
I'm still basing it. I'm going to shoot at a 60% clip. 60.
You said 60? Lukas said 50. And one of you guys got it perfectly right.
Who?
It's you!
Yeah, Lukas, motherfucker, goddamn, yeah, I got one for the books. This whole goddamn episode, I'm on there.
And if you get it perfectly right, you get 2 points and not 1.
Good, I beat you twice, nigga.
So it's 5-2 right now.
Dang.
Now IMDb critics. This is out of 100. Lukas said 69. What do you think?
Nah, I'm 50. I'm still in the 50 range.
Oh
There's
my
no
god,
way.
it's 51. You were
Yeah.
5-3.
Let's go. Okay.
And lastly, IMDb users. This is the people. This one's out of 10 to the nearest 10th.
Yeah. So
Lukas said 6.0.
I was gonna say 60% as well.
Don't say 60 because then it's just a tie.
I know, but it's hard because people. Because when I was a kid, I thought this was such a cool movie.
Sure.
But looking back at it now, I'm like, this shit was trash. I wasn't a big fan. I don't know, man. I can't picture it being more than 50%.
Okay.
So I would just say 50 again. But I can't picture people like...
Well, you were going to say 60.
It's between 50 or 60. If you want me to not be 60, I'm sitting at 50. I can't go above 60, but I can't go below 50. So I would say 50%.
Lukas is the winner at 6.6.
Okay.
Out of
what?
10.
Almost 70?
Almost 70.
Ooh.
So, but you at least got 3 points. You lost 6-3, but you got on the board for, and you got one perfectly right.
Yeah.
That's a win. Yeah. I'll take that.
Yeah, I'll take it too.
So critics gave it a 52 and a 51 for a 51.5.
Yeah.
People gave it a 60 and a 66 for a 63. Lukas gave it a 7.2 out of 10. What are you giving this?
Looking back at it now, I'm giving it a 5.
5.0.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you gave Battleship.
I'm giving it a 5.
Okay.
Because as a kid, I used to love it.
I was going to say, what about a 16-year-old? What is Jordan giving it?
Like, if I was like, when this first came out...
12 years ago.
I'm probably getting overexcited about the graphics. I'm loving it. I'm disregarding the story, so I'm probably putting it close to an 8 as a kid.
Okay.
But looking back at it now, the story was it lacked the story a lot. The story really wasn't there. The graphics, the reason I'm giving it is because of the graphics. Ideally, if I were in that time, the graphics would put me at a 6. But the story the story's not prominent at all. So okay. I would say 5 for the 5.0.
story. 5.0.
Yeah.
I was actually higher than you as well. Not quite as high as Lukas at a 7.2, but I was a 7.0.
Really?
I kind of seem to like John Carter as well. Now, obviously, there's a lot going on in the story, and you have to pay real close attention to find out the dynamics and who's who. But I see how Star Wars ripped this off as being the original literature. There's so much depth to it, and I see how they were setting up sequels after sequels that just kind of never came to be because it was a box office bomb and was going to lose them money. But I think there was some decent acting. The visuals were definitely okay. The music was great. And although the movie might not have done it well enough, at least the original story by Edgar Burroughs was able to create enough character development to work off of to build this kind of storyline. I thought there was definitely, although long, at least decently paced, and there felt like there were things at stake rather than like nothing that they did ever mattered. So 5.0, a 7.0, and a 7.2. That's 19.2. That's going to give us a 6.4 average on John Carter.
Okay, it's not bad. Well, okay, so what would you rather watch? This or Battlefield?
Or Battleship?
Battleship.
I think I'd rather watch this.
Really?
Yeah.
My anxiety got me going in Battleship. This is like, oh, it's cool. Battleship, I'm like, man, something's finna happen. Like, I was on edge.
That one kept you going.
I don't know if I was ever on edge during
with this.
No.
Interesting. Okay, I'll take it. I do have some reviews. We'll hear what critics had to say. Todd McCarthy at The Hollywood Reporter said, derivative, but charming and fun enough. Disney's mammoth sci-fi is both a spectacular and a bit cheesy, though. Glenn Kenny at apparently MSN had a movie review site called MSN Movies. He said, by the end of the adventure, even the initially befuddling double-frame story pays off in spades. For me, this is the first movie of its kind in a very long time that I'd be willing to sit through a second or even a third time, and he gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Glenny Kenny did. But then some more negative reviews. Peter DeBruge at Variety Magazine said, to watch John Carter is to wonder where in this jumbled space opera one might find the intuitive sense of wonderment and awe that Stanton brought to Finding Nemo and WALL-E. Now, I will say, films like Bug's Life and Finding Nemo and WALL-E are far better than this.
Yeah, I would agree.
And my last one's by A.O. Scott at the New York Times. He said, John Carter tries to reanimate a fondly recalled universe of B-movies, pulp novels, and boys' adventure magazines. But it pursues the modest goal, according to blockbuster logic, which buries the easy, scrappy pleasures of the old stuff in expensive excess. A bad movie should not look this good. He's just trying to cover up a bad script with a bunch of CGI, apparently.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. The story lost me. Like, the story was kind of cool, but it wasn't enough.
You gotta pay attention. Like I said, there's a lot going on, so you really have to, like, focus in.
I focus in that much for them to never make another movie. So, all that work,
true,
I didn't have to do.
If they made sequels, if this paid off and they made... and if they made sequels, then it'd be like, okay, it would be worth watching it.
Yeah,
really
maybe.
Deep.
But they can't make it because they're not making enough money.
I guess that's true.
Because the story's not good enough.
And then, so that was the 4 critics. I think I've got 6 people. The first one's by The Little Songbird. She is like... She's an autistic British gal. And she loves to review movies. She's reviewed over 10,000. On August 10th, 2014, she says... Of course, John Carter's a long way from flawless, but it also is not as bad as you would think looking at the box office numbers, its reputation, and how terribly marketed it was. Sure, the plot is as thin as ice in places with scenes that go on for far, far longer than they needed to, but it is also predictable and with the old convoluted part, with many of the logical lapses not helping in its favor. The script is uneven, a fair bit of it is actually quite intelligently handled with some entertainment and suspense, but other parts where the dialogue does make one cringe, and you do wish you learnt more about the characters and that the romance wasn't so forced. John Carter, however, does look incredible. The backdrops and scenery are bursting with color and detail, and the music score is outstanding, being full of bombastic energy and sweeping intensity. Stanton, considering that his field is more in animation and that the crew for John Carter is so huge, had a very daunting task, and he does so bravely, though with the odd understandable occasion where he seemed out of sorts with live actors. While the story may not be the greatest, it shouldn't be taken too seriously. In conclusion, not flawless by any stretch of imagination, but far from a disaster either. She gave it a 7 out of 10.
Good for her.
Yeah.
I can't get there. I can't get to a 7. I can't.
Our other big name person here is, there's actually a lot of them, but one of our other mainstays on the podcast, his name's Snoopy Style. And on August 28, 2013, he says, this is the big money flop of 2012. Not quite Heaven's Gate, but it still hurt. It's not that terrible. There's big action. The start is too slow. And it seems to be more of a serial rather than a 3-story act. Taylor is passable as a lead, and this is a load of sci-fi action adventure, but nothing especially compelling. He gave it a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
A little closer.
I'm with that. A 6 out of 10, I can get that.
One of the biggest reviewers that we have as well, Leofwine Draka, January 7th, 2015, says, I consider myself a fan of Edgar Rice Burroughs, being interested in the whole early 20th century pulp fiction science as a whole, so I admit my interest was piqued when I heard about this adaptation of one of the author's less well-known tales. The resultant film was a massive flop for Disney, so how would it hold up once all the fuss had died down? The truth is that, like so many Hollywood blockbusters today, John Carter is too reliant on CGI effects for its own good. Barely a scene goes by without huge crowds of aliens or CGI supporting creations, or CGI cityscapes, or CGI spaceships. It's all very George Lucas, and it saps the spectacle from the production, so that after 10 minutes, you're no longer impressed with it. Instead, it feels monotonous. 5 out of 10.
There we go. I wouldn't say that's how I feel like initially as a kid. I loved it. But now, I'm like, yeah, I agree with you 100%.
Crazy how your views change so quickly.
Yeah.
Next one's by a reviewer called View and Review on January 9th, 2022. Very short review. He just says, movie too long, life too short. 1 out of 10.
That's right. I can't agree with that. You gotta at least give it a 5.
Too low, huh?
At least a 5 is very reasonable.
It's a very
between a 5 to 7 is reasonable.
You're saying middle of the road.
Yep.
Okay.
If you're going below that or above that, I just can't meet you there.
Okay.
But if you want to argue 5 to 7, I'm with you there.
Well, here's an above 7. Bekoggenbing, June 15th, 2012 says, Edgar Rice Burroughs, best known as the creator of Tarzan, did a whole lot of work that stirred the imagination of readers for generations. I'm glad it took 100 years for this story to make it to the big screen. The age of computer graphics was the right one for this story to be filmed. I did so love the Woola, a giant marshworm who has a lovable quality and attaches himself to Kitsch. The film did not really do that good for the size of its budget. That's sad because it's a fine piece of work of the imagination and a credit to the man who had a limitless imagination. 8 out of 10. I think this guy's more of a fan of Edgar Rice Burroughs than he is of the movie itself.
Right.
But he did love the Woola.
It's okay though. Woola's sick.
The Woola's sick.
8 it is. I'll give you 8.
Only 2 more. No God, No Masters. On May 12th, 2019, on my birthday, when I turned 23, he said, this movie is finally a fitting tribute to the work of Burroughs. When you watch it, you think, oh, this has been done before. That was taken from Star Wars. But really, this wasn't taken from them. They borrowed it from Burroughs. Modern moviegoers might find the film a bit cliche and trite, but as a sci-fi fan who loves 50s sci-fi stuff, this is 10 stars. There's no F-bombs, sex, or nudity. Tween safe. 10 out of 10. A perfect score.
Yeah, no.
At least it's safe for the tweens.
Well, that's cool.
Like you, when it came out. No, you were 16 or 17.
I don't know. I still can't even. A 10 out of 10? I don't even know if I can give a movie a 10 out of 10.
Like you said, you gave this an 8 out of 10 when you watched this.
Have you given a movie a 10 out of 10?
Uh-huh.
What?
So, I mean, some of my favorite films of all time.
Which are?
Like Forrest Gump. I don't even know if I would give Forrest Gump a 10 out of 10, but it's my favorite film.
Well, what's a 10 out of 10? That's a 10 out of 10. What are you giving a 10 out of 10?
Whiplash, The Florida Project, Arrival, La La Land, Little Miss Sunshine.
So you have like 6 movies to give a 10 out of 10?
I'm a big cinephile.
You're very generous.
I have a list of ones that I would for sure call perfect films.
10 out of 10.
2001: A Space Odyssey, things like that.
Wow.
This is not a 10 out of 10, I'll tell you that.
Huh.
You have to work. I give a lot of movies a 9 out of 10. But a 10 out of 10 is tough.
Jeez.
And my last one is by John the Dishwasher. On August 2nd, 2021, he says, whatever you do not read the book before you watch this movie. You spend the entire film, if you can finish it, asking rhetorically and angrily, why did you take a story that works and turn it into a story that doesn't work? The movie is a behind-the-dumpster, coat-hanger abortion. 1 out of 10.
Yeah, I won't go that far. But
not an abortion. Maybe if you read the books. I don't know. But Lucas did say that he's heard that the books are not that great. So
that's how I feel about Dune. I read the books on Dune. And Dune was really good.
You liked the movies and the books.
Not because the movies, there's so much depth into Dune.
Yeah.
To where you have to take it like
That's why there's Dune Part 1 and Part 2, and there'll probably be Part 3.
And they didn't even touch base on the stuff that you learned from reading the books. So it's like, I get it. They're trying to make it to where it's understandable, but is it worth it? Or would you rather just be book dominant? You read your book, use your imagination. Or are you trying to portray somebody's imagination through the books that you have written?
It's tough.
It makes it hard.
So that's going to end this week. Are you recommending the movie to people?
Nah, I'm not going to recommend the movie. No.
It sounds like Lukas might. I'm kind of on the border, even though I gave it a 7 out of 10. If you're a fan of like Star Wars and Star Trek and things like that, yes, watch it. If you're not the sci-fi kind of fantasy fan, you're going to get lost in the characters and the lore of all of it. Probably don't watch it. So I'm kind of a mixed bag. But I'll say yes, soft recommend.
Soft recommend, yeah.
Kind of in the
I can
middle
go with that.
ground.
I'm not going to be like, hey, what movie you want to watch? Hey, John Carter crazy. Nah. It's okay. I wouldn't recommend it, though.
Okay. That's going to end it this week for the Space Sluts. Next week, we've got a very B movie called The Journey Absolution by a director that we've done a lot on here called David Dakota. Remember him from A Talking Cat and Bigfoot versus D.B. Cooper? We got another one that stars Mario Lopez and Jamie Presley. So it's going to be just probably dog shit, and Lucas is going to love it. But that's going to end it this week. Thanks, Jordan, for joining us.
Anytime. Thanks for having me, y'all.
A longer episode than usual, probably because we talked about the movie a lot and because we had drinks, so we were babbling a bit.
Yeah.
That's fine.
For sure. It's all definitely good, man. We had a good time.
Had a good time. And then finishing out our space month, Lucas and I finally decided we're going to do WALL-E as our masterpiece. Partly because the director of this movie did WALL-E. So let's draw some correlations to that. I think it'll be great. Thanks for listening. Thanks for keeping us as the number 8 ranked podcast for bad movies in the nation. Let's move on up to 7 or 6. Smash the like, smash the subscribe. What candy bar do you like? What's your favorite candy bar?
Man, I don't eat chocolate, but hey, I'll fuck me up a little Kit Kat in the fridge. White chocolate in the freezer.
Eat a white chocolate frozen Kit Kat for Jordan, and we'll see you next week, folks.
Yes, sir.
We did it.
Did it.
We did it. Save our video. We're going to end.